we're going to get started. We are going to get started. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Can I get this crowd under control? Hello. Hello, we're going to get started. There we go. I hear a few of them. Hello, welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad to see this overflowing room of people. I'm Tony Silver. I am a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission and a member of the Democratic Town Committee, and it's my distinct pleasure to be your host tonight. So we are going to move it along, but I wanted to make a couple of observations, starting with the thought that there are two great nights. In an election campaign, it's a process, but there are really two great nights in an election campaign. We can get this microphone to stay up. One is when your candidate announces, so that is tonight, and here she is. And the other is that night. So there are so many, there must be a few hundred people in this room, and you're all here. Really, give yourselves a round of applause. This extraordinary turnout is all of us united in a common cause, in a united purpose, and in a definitely winnable election. So we have a few housekeeping notes that we want to just run through really quickly before we start. Lisa, our campaign manager, has done a zillion things to help get this thing up and running really quickly. And some of them, we have lists, and many of you have signed up already, but there are lists in the back of the room to sign up for various volunteer activities. So please do that if you haven't already. There are, we request that you contribute. We all know that political campaigns cannot be won without adequate funding. And one thing we really want to ensure this year is that we are on a level playing field or better with our Republican opponents. So please think about contributing. And Lisa, raise your hand, please, Lisa. Lisa can take care of all of that. And she really does. She's wire is a little finicky. Yeah, Lisa's done great. We have Tesoro t-shirts available. Many of you are wearing them already. They cost $20. I think we have them in the back of the room as well. We have a really cool new website, VickiForTrumbull.com. So if you haven't been there, visit it. By all means, we're active on Facebook now. Vicki has a Twitter account, and I think she has. She already has 10 tweets. So she's really rocking and rolling. So this is great. And I want to thank Marisa for hosting us. The folks from Marisa has been great, and this is just a great room, so thank you to them as well. Round of applause for Marisa. Okay. Now we're going to get right into things, and we're going to start by introducing Mia Howland to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Where are our flag unfurled? Here they are. Where's Mia? Here she is. So Mia Howland is a fourth grader at Daniels Farm School, where my kids went. She is an avid Whovian who loves everything about Doctor Who. And, wait, this might not work because we can't see her. And I was going to say, that's all she thinks you need to know about her. So Mia, take it away.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, Mia. Okay, now we are going to sing the national anthem. We're going to sing the national anthem, and it's my pleasure to introduce Natalie Clift and Nathan Clift to come and lead us in the national anthem. Nathan, by the way, both Clifts are very active in TYA, which is near and dear to many of our hearts. Many of us know. TYA is terrific. 45 years of great community theater. And Nathan is currently the president of TYA. So.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we highlights last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
That was a wonderful rendition by Nathan and Natalie. Thank you very much. And thanks to our flag holders, Carol Waller and Rose Lodice. They did a great job as well. So we really ought to recognize some of the dignitaries who are with us. We have some great Trumbull Democrats here. And I just want to ask us also to sort of acknowledge those folks, starting with Nancy Denaro, who's really one of the great. He's one of the great leaders in Connecticut politics and has been for a long time, and certainly in Trumbull politics for a couple of decades. So we are fortunate to have Nancy with us and had her with us for many years in Trumbull, among the Trumbull Democrats. We have several former First Selectmen here who really represent a legacy for Trumbull, starting with Paul Tempinelli, who was First Selectman in 1981 and 1987. We have Dave Wilson with us, who's right over here. 1989 to 1999. And we have Ray Baldwin at the back of the room. I see him. Glad to meet you, Ray. And hitched up his horse to get here on time, so thank you, Ray. And we have Mary Beth Thornton, who was our really, really successful candidate in 2011. Please say beloved Mary Beth Thornton. And Martha, are you here? Is Martha Mark here? Martha, we recognize and honor you as well. So let's give Martha a round of applause. You know, as I mentioned Paul's name, it occurred to me, and I wanted to reflect just a little bit, just for a couple of minutes, on my own experience with Trumbull. When I moved to Connecticut 30 years ago, I covered Trumbull for the Connecticut Post. And really, Trumbull was sort of a bedroom community, and maybe not a really hot political area to cover for a young reporter, but I loved it. And I met so many people who influenced me throughout my life. Paul Timpanelli was the first selectman in 1985. Duncan Yetman, some of you may remember that name, was the superintendent of schools. Barbara Grossbard was the school board chairwoman. Ken Hallaby was the P&Z chairman. He really became a personal friend of mine. So he promised me though that he would help me get to the New York Times, and that didn't work out. So I'm gonna have to talk to Ken about that. Art Kaiser was the council chairman. The late Bill Crooks was the school system business administrator. Dave Wilson was the police captain. I always heard about Captain Dave Wilson. I dealt with Captain Brennan. He was the PR guy in the police department. But we met a few times, I suppose, Dave. And Ray Baldwin was a police officer, right, Ray? In '85. So these were good community-oriented people. I learned from them what cooperation meant and how it contributed to a great town, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on. And yes, there was political contentiousness, but from the perspective of a young reporter, really first out of college, that cooperation was what stuck with me. It was a great town. Trumbull Day was packed. It was so much fun. It was just an unbelievable town. There were so many activities. There wasn't a bad neighborhood, which is still true. But it was great. And I learned from those folks about what makes a great town. And they spent 30 years, the following 30 years, actually executing on a great town. There was political contentiousness. People say Trumbull is a very political town. It is, and there was contentiousness back then. But back then, from my perspective, the sort of wild-eyed political people were at the margins. And from my perspective today, the wild-eyed people are now in charge. So we're going to change that. This year, we're going to change that. We're going to make this town, we're going to return this town to that ideal that was seen through a young newspaper. My first moved here, now we've been here 19 years, and it's been a great life for me and my kids, and we're very appreciative, and we want to ensure that the next generation experiences that same Trumbull. So, thanks for listening, and with that, I want to introduce Tom Kelly, chairman of the Trumbull Democratic Town Committee, and our leader, Mr. Peter Morris.
Thank you, Tony. I wish I could do this without glasses, but that's, I can't do it without glasses. Good evening, everyone, and on behalf of the Trumbull Democratic Party, I'd like to welcome everyone to this event. And I'd like to start off by expressing some appreciation of my own. I first want to thank my wife, Marisa, who's sitting over there, for letting me do this. Of all the things I've done in my life, that was definitely the best thing that I ever did was marrying her. I'd like to thank Lisa Lavella and Kathy McGann and Elena McHugh and all the folks who worked very hard to put this event together. There's a lot of work and a lot of organization that goes on behind it, and simply goes unnoticed, but we certainly appreciate all the work that you guys did. I want to say thank you to Tony Silver for emceeing tonight's event. And I want to say thank you to not only Nathan Cliff, outstanding job. What people don't know is I was scheduled to do the national anthem, to sing the national anthem before I found these two, and we're much better off. And you know, I also want to thank Mia Holland for doing an outstanding job with the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, this shows the talents of our young folks on display here yet again tonight, and it shows the strength of our town and the strength of our Trumbull families, and we're really proud of the job that those kids just did. And while I'm talking about young folks, I saw young Alvin tonight, and this young man just recently, standing over there, he just recently participated in the St. Baldrick's event where he shaved his head for the kids that have cancer. We raised $2,600, and we're proud of you. I want to thank Jens and Doug and Max and Matt and Ben and Scott on the video team. And I also want to thank Nancy DiNardo, our longstanding chair, for all of her continued contributions to our party and for always being there to support us. And the officers of our Democratic Town Committee, our Vice Chair, Mary Beth Thornton, the Treasurer, Lisa Lavella, and our Secretary, Cindy Katsky. I want to thank my friend, Andy Balo, sitting over here, for continuously being there to support all of us and for being the voice of reason and keeping things. I want to thank my buddy, Vicki Tesoro, back there. I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder, he's over here, but there's a special place in heaven reserved for him right now. And I want to thank all of our Democratic elected officials who are all community volunteers, and they're giving back to their town. And finally, and most importantly, I'd like to thank all of you who took the time to come here tonight, take time out of your busy schedules and came to Marisa's tonight to support our cause. We truly appreciate your attendance and support. And for the first time, we're trying something new. We have this live streamed over the internet tonight, so there's some folks watching from home. So if you're watching from home, we appreciate you watching from home. And we're going to continue to try to embrace modern technology and do things like that so we can reach as many people as possible. So I'm almost finished with my remarks, but I just want to say that, as we all know, this is municipal election year, and there's much at stake here in Trumbull. And Trumbull Democrats believe that we have the best vision for Trumbull's future. We look forward to sharing that vision and having a conversation with Trumbull voters. This is what I can tell you about what you can expect. Trumbull Democrats are going to clearly articulate the vision we have for Trumbull. We will have an outstanding roster of candidates for every single position on the ballot. We are going to wage a positive, issue-oriented campaign. Our candidates and volunteers are going to be working very hard in a grassroots effort to engage Trumbull voters and discuss issues with them. We are not going to be outworked. We are going to raise enough money so that we're not outspent 5-1 again. We are going to have a respectful campaign that Trumbull can be proud of. And we need your help. The most important parts of every campaign are an outstanding candidate, a great platform and vision for the future, and a team of passionate and enthusiastic volunteers who are willing to talk to their neighbors and tell them why our candidates are the best choice for Trumbull. I ask each and every one of you and those watching from home to participate in this campaign and help us elect the right team for Trumbull's future. So I have just one request, that you can start the help tonight. If you have a Facebook account or a Twitter account, please take a picture and tweet it or put it up there on Facebook and let everybody know that you heard Marisa's and we have a packed house of over 200 people here tonight. So thank you for that. Our party is unified and we are ready. Coming, we truly appreciate your support.
Tom's comments were going to be life impacting, and I just think they were. Sorry. Well, I think we're at the moment we've sort of been waiting for. We want to hear from our candidate, and to introduce our candidate is her longtime friend, Ristorante.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say it's so nice to see so many familiar and when I arrived in Trumbull 20 years ago, Vicki was one of the first welcoming faces I met, and she the PTSA, and then I watched her become a relentless advocate for all of us, all of our Trumbulites, as part of the town council. Whatever role Vicki selflessly and tirelessly pursues, what she believes is right for us and for Trumbull. While many of her friends see this new adventure as a possible interference with seeing Vicki socially, I won't mention our activities, but we all wholeheartedly support her. The qualities that make Vicki a great friend, compassion and loyalty, are the qualities that will make her a great leader. We have seen accomplished for our town and look forward to more positive change in Trumbull. With that, I am deeply honored to introduce our next First Selectman, Vicki Tesoro.
You can all go home now. First of all, thank you, Gail. You know, I'm going to try my best to show everyone that I'm a tough person, and I'm not going to talk. But everyone knows me. I'm really not tough at all. Only when I need to be. Girls. First of all, I would also like to thank Mia, Natalie, and Nathan for opening up our program with the Pledge of Allegiance and the Star Spangled Banner. So again, let's give them another round of applause. And I thank Tom Kelly for making all those thank yous, because I'm not going to repeat that, but thank you to all those people again. There'll be a lot more as we march on with our campaign. But I do have before I start, and that's my family. My husband Tom. And my two girls, Laura and Melissa. No matter what, like any family, they are always behind me, with me, in front of me, picking me up, and I think they'll probably continue to do that for the next 5 months. And no matter what happens, no matter what happens in November, those three people, of course, are the best part of my life. So, first of all, good evening, everybody. I didn't think I said that. I want to do a little test, hearing test, so I make sure that the people in the back of the room can hear me. So if those people can hear me, please raise your hand. Wow, okay, that's great. If you want to hear me, please raise your hand. That's even better. Okay, I have to say that I am obviously and truly overwhelmed with this turnout tonight. I'm without words. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me this evening as I announce my intention to seek the Democratic nomination for First Selectman of Trumbull. Thank you. I see so many familiar faces from a lifetime of living in Trumbull. It's just wonderful. It really is. Somebody said it's like a reunion in here, and I think it is, actually. So normally I would begin by talking about me, about why I am running and what I will do. The operative word is I. That is exactly what is wrong about politics in Trumbull. It is not about me. It's about we. What we will do together to create a better future for Trumbull. What we will do together to reset our priorities. What we will do together to change the tone of politics in our community. We are all in this together. We all have a stake in our future. That is why it is so gratifying to see Democrats, Republicans, and unaffiliated voters united in a common belief that working together, respecting each other, listening to each other, is the best course for our future. Let's start now by committing together to do the right thing in the right way. Let's start by honoring our past. Every First Selectman has made a positive contribution to our community. Let me cite a few examples. Paul Timpanelli, for his calm, thoughtful leadership and expert financial management. Morag Vance, for acquiring more than 300 acres in the Chronic Valley, which is now rails to trails. James Wilson, for his visionary development of our parks and public spaces. Ken Hallaby, for setting the course to correct our pension underfunding and beginning reinvestment in our schools. And Ray Baldwin, for building our fantastic preschool and preserving the character of our community by purchasing and preserving open space. Thank you. Stopping there would be typical, but this will be a different type of campaign. I also want to recognize and acknowledge our current First Selectman for advocating for full-day kindergarten. Now you may ask, why acknowledge your opponent? Why? Because it is the right thing to do. Unlike some in the current administration who would like you to believe that Trumbull was in dire condition until they arrived, the truth is that Trumbull was winning awards and recognition long before 2009. That is because of efforts of the men and women I mentioned earlier. Honoring and recognizing our past is the key to leading Trumbull into the future. In recognizing our First Selectman, I also note that like his distinguished predecessor, there comes a time to move on. For my opponent, that time is now. For 6 years, we've seen the community warped by bitter partisan politics that is hurting our town. For 6 years, we've had government, and in fact, much of civic life infected with acrimony. No one talks to each other anymore. For 6 years, we've seen too much of politicians who were so interested in positioning themselves for personal and political advantage that they have forgotten who we are. For 6 years, we've had incessant lawsuits, dubious and unneeded legal opinions, government by intimidation, and government where politicians do the things they want, when they want, not because it's right, because they think they can't be challenged. I intend to change that in our community. I will remember that this is Trumbull, Connecticut, where 35,000 citizens live, shop, and pursue happiness side by side. We are neither dealing with the great question of war and peace, nor the intricacies of our state budget. We have elected others to represent our interests in those arenas. Here in Trumbull, we are building a community. You can only build community through mutual respect, consensus, and most important, compromise. It's inconceivable that the leader of our community would find it necessary to issue an FOI request, that's a Freedom of Information request, to a member of the Nature and Arts Center whose sole interest is in teaching our community about nature. It is inconceivable that I had to fight for months to have public comment put on the town council agenda. I fought that fight, and I won, to give you, the people, the right to speak. It's inconceivable that some members of the opposition believe that it's okay to fine people under an alarm ordinance that few, if any, of our citizens knew about. I fought that fight, but I lost, leaving our citizens exposed for fines for violations they knew nothing about. I refuse to accept that we're a community where some members of the opposition silence points of view that differ from their own. I refuse to accept that we're a community where some members of the opposition respond to criticism with threats of lawsuits and angry denunciations. I refuse to accept that we're a community where the opposition would nominate a person who publicly announced on the town council floor that he did not have to be fair to a Democrat. And that did happen. I was left speechless, actually. I reject the notion that in our town, comments like that are not repudiated. What would I do differently? I would pick up the phone. Can we discuss the Nature Center? Hello, let's talk about development on Route 25. Hi, Bill. Can't we find common ground about sewers and regional cooperation? Wouldn't you think putting aside personal differences would be a priority? 6 years of animosity have not served the interests of our community. The best leaders listen, the best leaders seek out differing points of view, and the best leaders understand that today's adversaries will be tomorrow's allies. I will be that kind of leader. So what is next? What will we do? Those of you who know me, know I like to be thorough and do my homework before speaking on the subject. We will be developing our platform in the upcoming weeks and answering questions about priorities and approach. However, there are a few things we can say tonight. On the subject of sewers, we will do all we can to reverse the policy of charging our citizens for water use that never enters the sewer system. appoint commissioners to the WPCA who think that kind of policy is just a bad idea. We believe that we must work together to solve the sewer treatment plant issue. We should be looking at all options to protect Trumbull ratepayers, including contracting with other communities that have a sewer treatment plant, or negotiating a fair agreement with Bridgeport, or entering into a regional sewer authority. Let's be the administration that solves our sewer issues for the next 50 years. On the subject of empowering our citizens, we will put on the ballot in 2016 the question of whether we prefer a balanced 7-district system with strong minority representation or the system which has left us with the government we have today in Trumbull. We will do this, even if it costs us council seats in future elections. I believe that our community benefits from balance and strong minority representation, but that is my opinion. The people should decide the kind of structure they want, and after hearing all points of view, I'm confident that they will make a good decision, and we will abide by it. On the subject of senior tax relief, everyone in this room would agree that senior tax relief is a good thing. However, tax relief should go to those in need, and they should not have to volunteer to get it. In my mind, a volunteer is a volunteer, not someone who expects or receives a monetary benefit. Now, I voted for this scheme where senior volunteers can get some tax relief. I did so because some in need will benefit. Remember, though, every dollar of tax relief given to those not in need comes out of the pockets of struggling families and those needing seniors who are unable to volunteer. Let's be the administration that ensures our senior tax relief programs are providing real tax relief to our neediest seniors. Beyond tax relief, our seniors need a place to meet with expanded program offerings. Let's be the administration that builds a community center that can be used by all of our town residents. On the subject of pensions, let's be the administration that will fulfill the promise made by my opponent and quickly forgotten. We will put 25% of any budget surplus into our plans until they are 100% funded. On the subject of taxes, I believe that low, predictable tax increases are good, and no tax increases are better. An individual asked me to predict what kind of increases there will be in taxes. Well, contrary to what anyone may believe, I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not in the business of making guesses. I'm also not in the business of making promises just to get elected. However, let's be the administration that acknowledges that there can't be endless tax increases and limitless spending hikes, especially for questionable budget priorities. It is in all of our best interest to see that every dollar is spent wisely. We will end superfluous spending on redundant and unnecessary positions. We will not be giving out 6-year, 6-figure contracts. council an ill-conceived salary plan that, in my opinion, was poorly documented and had insufficient public input. I vow to repeal that, and if elected, I will not accept any salary increase based on it. Actually, that is a promise. Any salary adjustment should be done with thorough analysis, with complete public input and understanding, and fully communicated and discussed before any vote is taken. On the subject of public safety, we should ensure that our police force is fully staffed, trained, and equipped in order to keep our town as safe as possible. The town must act now to install a signal light at the Chips Fitness Edge. All the rails to trails, street crossings must be re-examined, including the crossing at Route 111 to protect pedestrians. We should put in more sidewalks for the safety of both our children and our adults. Excuse me.
Water boy coming.
He's such a great guy. So let's be the administration that makes sure we are doing all we can to keep our citizens safe. On the subject of economic development, in order to keep our residential taxes as low as possible, it is imperative that Trumbull makes the most out of the small portion of our town that is zoned for commercial use. That means attracting business to come to Trumbull and retaining the ones we have. Unfortunately, last year, 2 of Trumbull's largest employers left for Shelton, vacating 350,000 square feet of prime office space. We have to see creative ideas on how to turn things around in Trumbull Center, and the concept of a river walk is exciting and worth exploring. And how about our young people? Are you aware that the Youth Commission was eliminated in the first charter revision in 2011? Are you aware that the Youth Department was eliminated during this year's budget vote, in addition to the Assistant Recreation Director position, who was directly in charge of youth programs? I still have no idea why my opponent cut the TYA line from the budget. TYA is very successful and has been for a very long time. What kind of message are we sending to our young citizens? Let's be the administration that realizes the importance of also focusing on our youth. Last and certainly not least, let me speak on the subject of education. You have heard all kinds of comments from our opposition on this subject. Most recently, the chair of the opposition party and an elected member of the Board of Finance stated that the Board of Education spends money like drunken sailors. That may appeal to some, but I prefer the facts. The fact is that when compared to our district reference group, also known as DIRG, we produce above average results at a much lower than average per pupil cost. Let me repeat. Much above average results with below average expenditures. To me, when you have administrators and teachers delivering those results, they have demonstrated that they spend their money wisely. Imagine what the Board of Education could do if we reinvigorate investment. I ask you, what is better use of our town money? Legal fees or investment in education? I want to be certain that benefits reach the broadest students. The very best students will continue to have all the great opportunities our system provides, and those most in need will continue to get all the support they deserve. We want to be sure that every student has the opportunity to reach their potential, and we are committed to doing just that. I will work with the educational professionals, not malign them. I prefer gradual, incremental improvement rather than resting on our laurels. I want to acknowledge Superintendent Gary Chaffee and the Board of Education for addressing mental health issues at Trumbull High School and both middle schools by adding additional mental health professionals and programs to support our students. As some of you may know, this is an area that's near and dear to my heart, as I have been involved with the Trumbull Partnership Against Underage Drinking for the past 9 years, and we continue to work with that group to help our young people. There's much more work to do. I will be advocating for a student resource officer at Trumbull High School during the next budget season. An SRO, go ahead and clap. An SRO is an invaluable asset. 15 of the 17 school districts in our DERB have at least one SRO in their schools. Some have more. We should have it too. All of this and more to come are important, but I can't do this alone. I want to ask two people to join me. Cindy Caskey and Anthony Musto, will you come up here? Both of these outstanding individuals have a long history of community service in Trumbull. They have both chosen to raise their families in Trumbull and have embraced the concept of giving back to their town. Cindy Caskey's Democratic nomination for town clerk. And then we must go in a Democratic nomination for town treasurer. Together, we will be reaching out to Trumbull over the next 5 months to tell you about our vision for Trumbull's future. Please join me again in welcoming Cindy and Anthony Tesoro. Let me end, more applause, as I began. As I said, this is not about me, but about we. People sharing a common vision and committed to listening and compromise can achieve great things. Trumbull can achieve great things if we work together. First as a community volunteer, and then for the last 4 years on the town council representing District 3. I'm thoroughly familiar with the issues facing our community. I have strong working relationships with town department heads and the administrators in our school system. From all of this, I have developed the image of our Trumbull as a special place, a special community of people who deeply care about their neighbors and our collective future. It is with this image that I begin this campaign. I humbly ask for your support. Thank you.